All right, we are live. I am going to put in the, hopefully you guys see our post. If you're seeing us live, you can totally join us. Um, I'm getting it. If you'd like to join us in the Zoom, you get to talk with us and ask questions. And you want to go to cupoflove.joinheidilive.com. So hopefully we'll see you in just a sec. And take it away, Heather.
Welcome. So first I wanted to share
Recording in progress.
pulling a card. And okay, so let's try a card in the middle, see what we've got. For our oil card, grounding, the balancing blend. So I'm somebody who's probably needs grounding on the regular. The grounding blend, the affirmation is I am grounded in the present moment, and it's grounded, stable, committed, and persevering. And here's our little card on grounding. Isn't that beautiful?
I love that. I use it every day. I need it every day.
Balance is the oil that I used to, if my son was really having a hard time, I would put it on the back of his neck, and after a few minutes he'd be like, "Can you control my moods?"
That's awesome.
So welcome to A Cup of Love. We are going to, welcome Tracy. We are going to talk about emotional health. Yay. First, you're created to function as a whole, right? So our spirit, our body, and our mind in one big wellness pyramid, right? We're supposed to nourish all of that. And so that's what we're trying to do with our cup of love, right? We're trying to give a little nourishment here and there, and try to bring us all together. I didn't create an image of it, but I really like that whole Swiss cheese philosophy of mental health and nourishing our body, spirit, and mind. And that, there's holes in different areas, right? But that bubble bath is going to get you a little bit of coverage, and going for that walk is going to get you a little bit of coverage, and writing a joy list and doing things off of it is going to get you a little bit of coverage, and you stack them all together, and more of you is nourished and filled in. So, yay, and welcome, Robin. Okay, so we have three brains. Emotions are processed through the body. Science reveals that they are complex neuroprocessing functions in the mind, heart, and the gut. We often don't think about that, right? We just think about the brain being where our emotions come from, our mind. We don't think about our heart and also our gut. And the mind is our logic and our intellect, and subconscious mind directs over 90% of our behavior, which is like huge, right? There's so much of us. We want to make sure we're not on autopilot, right? Doing the wrong thing, driving our car the wrong way. And then the heart has really our intuition. There's more neural pathways that run from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart, because there's just so much that we need emotionally there. And then the gut really is where our gut feelings happen, right? That, or mom's intuition, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many different words for that. People across the board use that. 90% of the body's serotonin involved in mood management is, I spelled it wrong, but produced in the gut. So our gut has a lot to do with it. I mean, matter of fact, if we're not digesting life well, we get an upset belly. So it's good to look at where things live and what's going on with those different areas. So life can be hard if we're not processing things right, trying to figure things out. We can get really overwhelmed, and we can get a disconnect between our brain and our heart and our gut, and we can get conflicted feelings, and we can get head tension, and we can get a upset stomach. And then things just don't flow and smooth like we need. And then if we then create, negative affirmations accidentally and telling ourselves negative things, I'm not good enough, or this, that, and the other thing, it can really have a huge display in our lives. But we are enough. I am enough. I am whole. We weed out those negative thoughts, those negative relationships, and substances, like for me, sugar, a little too much sugar. And then what do I want to plant, right? We want to put in new beliefs, great relationships, and healthy supplements. And then we want to nourish that seed with healthy practices, habits, and patterns. Okay, so today I wanted to talk to you guys about one of my favorite subjects that's really kind of fed my soul and helped me to be my best self, and that was learning about energy types. And there was a point in my life where I was in a place where I didn't even know who I was. Like, I kind of lost myself trying to be what other people had wanted me to be. And I just didn't even really recognize myself. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I don't know who that is, right? And I had learned about Carol Tuttle's energy typing quite some time prior, but I just couldn't remember her name to look it up or anything. And so then I found it again. Like one morning I woke up and I remembered it. And it was right where I was just kind of at my lowest point, where I kind of felt like a shell of me. And I found it, and I got her book, and then I at the time I bought her energy typing program, which no longer costs, so that's awesome. I should have brought in the cards, but she also have color cards. Anyway, so I went through it, and there's 4 different types of energies, and so it's a nice. I feel like, there's how we are, like our love languages, and there's our different preferences of what makes us who we are in different areas. And it's just really nice to know our energy type. So for instance, the first time I videotaped myself, like I was off camera more than I was on camera, because I have a lot of energy and I move a lot. And I was like, oh, wow, I need to fix that because, the point's to be on camera, right? So like just knowing where we are and our different energy type can have huge impacts in our life. Also with my children, it's been huge. And then also with leaders on my team, it's been huge. But there's also another book that she does that my other favorite of hers is The Child Whisperer. And it also talks about what that looks like in our childhood. And the funny thing is we oftentimes get shamed. And so we don't necessarily recognize ourselves right away. So see if it comes up here. Okay, so I'm a type 1. And so there's 4 different types. The names are kind of boring in my opinion. Just type 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, but type 1 is upward, light, random, disconnected, buoyant, free, crisp, fresh, bright, unstructured, spontaneous, brilliant, and upbeat. We like lots of exclamation points and emojis. Anyway, so our colors, we tend to look better in like lighter colors, or some of the gem colors that really kind of help bring us more alive and feel more alive, and help people to recognize us for our energy that we have. She said that if she was to describe a type 1 as water, it would be like a bubbling brook. And then also, I thought kind of funny. So she's talked about like different areas in lots of different ways. But she said that if you were to talk about like what does angry type 1 look like, we look like a geyser, and then we're like over it. And I've had a lot of people. So because if I get upset, I'm like mad, and I'm done. And then I like forget. Like I will totally I was ever mad at that person. And everybody's not like that. So it's really good to know, who you're dealing with and yourself, because like my husband, who's a type 2, they kind of get stuck in their grouchiness, and they expect everybody else to, because we expect people to behave like us, right? And so So it took him a bit to realize, okay, wow, she like actually doesn't even remember why she was annoyed with me earlier or yesterday or whatever. And so it's nice to know where you and others in your life are. Our movement is yin yang. It's pretty high. Shapes. We have lots of hearts and stars in our face actually, which is kind of wild. So our eyes turn up slightly. Like this is a kind of tendency because we have the idea is we have all four types in us, and then we have our dominant energy, and then secondary, third, and fourth. And it's fun to see how that all plays together. And anyway, so I'm a 1 3 2 4, but I have so because threes are even a higher energy. I have actually the second highest energy of people out there, which is so funny because I totally think that I'm sedate. But anyway, and then shapes. I actually have a lot of hearts in my face. And you see the different shapes and the different types in the face and the way we show up. Kind of cool. And then attributes, we tend to be outgoing extroverts, and that doesn't mean that we're not introverted. I'm probably the most introverted style of extrovert. I need my downtime too, but I definitely get energized being with people. And we're definitely big idea people. And I wanted to share some of this here. And so type ones, we have like very outgoing or an upward movement, like even in our faces and stuff. Our shapes are like stars and circles, squiggly lines going up, polka dots, like all of the like party pictures, right? Hearts and like I love stars, but I want them rounded on the corners. Like I don't want them dangerous. And then we're one of the energies, the highest movement. And then we tend to be extroverted energy moving randomly outward away from the source. And then we are yin yang. Yin is for fresh, light quality, and yang is for outward, radiant quality. Okay, so then our type 2. So I have my second oldest is a type 2, and my husband's a type 2. One of my son-in-laws is a type 2. And so type 1s are often called, I'm trying to think of, Connie Podesta had a typing also, and the different things go with it. I think the type 1 was the healer type, and the type 2 was the oracle type. Anyway, so colors, so we're type 1 to have basically white added to all of our colors. Type 2 colors have a little bit of gray added, and it's like a really comfortable. It's funny, when you meet a type 2 guy, they tend to dress in their natural, where women, I feel like we are told so much to not be who we are, and don't do that. Don't wear so much of that. Don't act like that. Don't be true to yourself. So much of our lives that we often don't wear a lot of what is like what presents us, our natural. A matter of fact, it's funny, she said that she's never known more people than type 1s who wear black, and that's actually a color that we don't like resonate with. Like I feel invisible in color black, but I had so much black in my wardrobe when I went through my wardrobe. My type 4 daughters couldn't even absorb it all. Like I had a lot of black. Funny, because I don't even like black. So if the type 2 were a body of water, they would be like the Mississippi, and with kind of that meandering movement, but with a lot of deep going on underneath. Also, I love. She said that if they were a tree, they would be a whispering willow. I feel like that kind of gives you an idea of kind of their energy type. They're very calm. Their energy is fluid, flowing, soft, connected, easy, relaxed, subtle, blended, inviting, comfortable, steady, and muted. And they want to be comfortable. They're the ones that like they make a nest out of their beds to sleep in usually. They wear comfy clothes. Like my my type 2 daughter, like that girl can make comfy grandma clothes look so cute when I just look frumpy, and I can't pull that off. And then shapes are kind of a squiggly line and teardrops, ovals, a soft rectangle, any shape with a soft edge. And they have a lot of really downward movement in their faces. So like their eyes will sometimes like turn down slightly, and you'll see a lot of like S lines in their hairline. Even like I guess like my kids were saying, even my nose makes a heart shape. Where my daughter's like it's perfect little ovals, and it's interesting what you'll see in faces with it, and they're very comfortable, and they tend to be more introverted style. They have a medium low energy, and yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a cascading picture of the page, kind of a cascading like a flow of a river going down. I'm gonna type 2, and then our type 3s. And hi, Elaine. Elaine is a type 3. Type 3s are, and I didn't get the slides like finished on these. They're active, they're reactive, they're angular, they're substantial, they're sure, they're textured, they're rich, they're dynamic, they're swift and irregular. Their colors tend to have more depth to them. They have shades where like a lot of the jewel colors. So like you can even see the purple behind Elaine's head, if you can see it. That's a type 3 color. Anyway, and there's a lot of like, they're very deep people, right? They don't just, they have lots of energy, and they move and do big things a lot. Matter of fact, they tend to be entrepreneurial, type 3s do. But they also, they have like a lot of thought, but they don't necessarily like finishing things. Matter of fact, neither do type 1s. Like we like starting things, and we intend to, anyway, actually, I think 3s might be a little more logical about that and actually like be like, here, you finish it. I don't know. I always actually think that I'm going to finish it. So type 3s, so more angular, so triangles. They like sharp, pointy, more dangerous looking shapes than I do. And so then your triangles, your rectangles, your geometric shapes, things with a point. They like people to get to the point when they're talking. Type 3s have, so it says the medium to medium high energy for a type 3. And they are extroverted energy moving dynamically outward away from the source. And that's where you get the really exotic eye, where it's a much higher slant than a type 1 eye. I think of like the Asian eye, where that's got that really pretty slant, like Thailand kind of look. Anyway, and then type 3 is a yang. They're dynamic, angular quality, and the yang is outward, intense quality. And their movement is very fast. So for a body of water, they would be she said that they would be a waterfall. So there's like a lot of intense energy. They've got so much going on. Their movement is very swift. Their shapes, again, triangles, and then their attributes are that they tend to just always be doing. They're busy and love being busy because they've got so much to do in life. So then our last type is a type 4. Their energy is constant, still, bold, clean, simple, structured, regal, clear, precise, reflective, high contrast, and keen. So an example of a type 4 in our lives would be, welcome Kathy, would be Osti. Osti is a type 4. And matter of fact, I don't know if you've noticed the difference between, like I sit on a ball, like that's my chair, right? And that actually helps me stay more in the middle when I'm talking to you. And Osti, sometimes I'm like, wait, is she moving? Is this a picture or a video? Because she's so frozen. And that's a very strong type 4 quality. And they have more bold colors, kind of the colors true in their truer sense, also colors with a shiny silver added to them is very type 4. If a type 4 was body of water, it would be a lake or a iceberg. And again, like a lot more going on under the surface. Oh, another thing is, so each one like interacts first with the world differently. So a 1 interacts first with the world socially, which I thought that's not even a thing, is it? But I totally do. And then a type 2 emotionally is how they first react with the world around them. And then type 3's first physically is how they interact with the world around them. And then type 4's first intellectually is how they interact with the world around them. So it's kind of, I love the like understanding more about how I and those in my circle work. I feel like that I can be more supportive. Anyway, of myself and others. And then movement, type 4s are very still in comparison to many of the other types. Shapes, they actually, see, they're not doodlers, which is wild to me. Like I can't even imagine that because like I doodle on everything, little hearts and stars everywhere. But anyway, so the type 4 energy is constant, steady movement that moves from one point to another with exactness, like a straight line. When there is no movement or stillness, it creates a solid structure. And the vibration and movement of each type can be depicted by the different shapes. And with type 4s, it's like an equal sign or a rectangle or even like a rounded rectangle, elongated rectangle, oval that's elongated. And their faces, like, oh, and there's even, you see these in movie styles too. So like type 1s are mostly comedians type in movies. Type 2s, matter of fact, all the big actors that are type 2s have done romances. And a type 4, like all the big actors that I know, they're type 4s, when they try to do a romance, they've bombed because it just doesn't, their style isn't that romance type style, right? They are, but the big drama actors tend to be type 4s. And then type 3 actors tend to be like your action heroes. And you get like some crossover that's totally believable with 3s and 4s. But for some reason, like, and type 1s, it's a rom-com. It's usually like, they can't not last long enough to be too serious. And then the energy style type 4s is a low energy to no movement. And then the yang, yang, they are yang yin. And their yang is firm, bold quality, and their yin is still reflective quality. And so one thing that this has helped me with is, for instance, when I'm working, it really helps me to just randomly stop in the middle of what I'm doing, which would totally screw up, I know, several other people. And go, like, I go and then I go play in the yard and play with my chickens or my turkeys, or go blow bubbles or draw with chalk with my youngest. And that helps me. Then I come back and I'm so much more productive than if I were just like power through it. Where like a type 4, like if they just power through it and get it done and then play later, they like their lives a little more organized, where I like mine more random. So knowing your type and what supports you, like my children come into my office to play because I have a yoga swing and I have a bouncy chair and I have an exercise ball and I need play in order to be productive, where other people, depending on their types, need different things. Did anybody have any questions about like the types and how that supports you to be like fill your cup more? Okay. So like.
Well, wait a minute. I came in late, so I didn't hear some of the beginning, but I get the gist of things. But I'd like to hear more about who is what type. That helps me kind of identify it. So I totally get Osti as a 4.
I'm a 1.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around me being a 3, but it seems like it is.
And
so
I'm a 1. I just lost her name. I can see her face in front of me. Cute, short, spiky hair. Not spiky. It's like not spiky. It's like it's short. So Becky's also a 1. Becky's a 1-4. I'm a 1-3. Aussie's a 4-3.
I'm a 3, but I lean into 4, but I stay in 3 a lot. So I'm a 3-4.
And then Sandy's a 2. So I think Sandy's a great example of a 2.
Christy is a 2. Christy's a 2.
Yeah. And you can even see it in Christy's eyes. Her eyes turn down just slightly. And they have this, in fact, a type 2's eyes, people tend to see them as caring. Like they can see them from across the street and they will just go, that looks like a caring person. Because that's kind of a type 2 persona. They look safe, and comfortable, and caring.
What about Jennifer Lovedoll?
My guess is she's a 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, if you know my children, Ritea is a 4, Brianna is a 2, Dalton is a 3, Leela is also a 4, and Aria is a 1.
Yeah, she sure is.
I was like, yes, we got another 1 in the family. Like, go play with.
And
I mean, I play with all my kids, but like she gets me better.
What did you say Brianna was?
Brianna's is a 2. She's a 2-1. So she has a lot of that upward movement, but man, that girl, like, she goes to bed early and it's to snuggle in her, blankets and read a book. And well, now that she's got a baby, maybe not as much as control over it, but but she's been like that since like little. Like she's like, this is my time. Nobody messes with that girl's sleep.
So Heather, Tracy was wanting to know, what's the best way to figure out what type you are?
So if you go to Carol Tuttle's website, which is, you can just go to caroltuttle.com. She's got I lost my screen. I can't control my mouse. There it is. Sorry. If you go to, let's see, did I put it on the last page? No. I put it on the very front page, but it's just caroltuttle.com.
Yeah. I'll put it in the chat.
Thanks. And she's got a little quiz that you can take, and that kind of mostly gets you there. But if you start taking the like the little course on the type that you came up with, you will definitely, I think, resonate with like or won't resonate with it. When I was first reading, I read It's Just My Nature, and that one really, really helped me. And I highlighted kind of what I was and stuff. And it's funny, another thing that we found really helpful for like my children that weren't really positive. Like I super thought that Anna was a type 1 because her whole life she had been encouraged to act like a type 1. And I'm sorry, Anna. That was partly me. Anyway, the child whisperer, it actually has things like what you would be, what those different characteristics are in a child. And then it also has what that type would want to hear at different ages and stages. And I have found 100%, and with my children, that, and it worked with my stepchildren I've done this with as well, is that when I read to them what we thought their type was, if they didn't cry or get choked up after hearing what they needed to hear at those different ages and stages, that wasn't their type. And then we did it again, and like every single one of us, it was like I needed to hear that kind of a thing, which was really, really sweet at the different ages. But like it's really fun kind of to go down and then to help support you to be your best self and go like, you know what, it's okay that I am bouncy and that that I need randomness in my life and I'm not super timely. and I last minute think of things to go. I'm like, hey, did you guys all, instead of planning that we wanted to go on an Italian date for the last month, do we want Chinese instead? And because I see that as different, and my kids can be like, no, Mom, This is what I've been planning for a month. Because, you know, for my twos and my 2 and my 4, that, you know, my older girls that we go and play, they're like, this is really what I need. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm super flexible. And they're like, okay, we actually need it to stay the same. And so then we've been able to, like, I feel like I'm a better mom to my other children because of my type 4s in my life. They're super structured. And I'm like, oh yeah, we need to do structure too, you know, not just random funness. And I think that we all like lift each other up, being our true selves. And I've also found that people who like are a really nasty example of a type tend to not be that type and are living in their second or their third. So it's really, I love being able to support us all to, you know, be true to ourselves. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we went like the full 30 minutes today.
Yeah, we did. That was awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. So just save the this website link, cupoflove.join Heidi Live now, or joinheidilive.com. And we will be here next Wednesday, same time, and I'll be teaching. So I thank you so much, you guys, for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. It was great. It was great.
Thank you. We appreciate you attending the lives.
Thank you for popping in.
Recording stopped.